All right, here are quiz 4 solutions for Math 111. First question is asked to estimate f of 2. What you need to know is this is saying that the x value equals 2, so like right here. And what it wants to know is what is the y value equal to? And it looks to me like it's pretty close to 4. I would say that f of 2 equals 4. That the height when the x value equals 2 is 4. Estimate any values of x such that f of x equals 2. This one sounds a lot like this one, but it's not. It's different. This one is saying that the height equals 2. So the height equals 2 right here. So let's see. Looks like there's a spot over there where the height equals 2. I don't know how well I can draw a straight dotted line, but somewhere over here. Point somewhere in here, and a point somewhere in here where the height equals 2. This wants to know what their x value, or values, are equal to. Well, if you had me estimate this one, I don't know, -2.5 maybe? And you had me estimate this one, it looks pretty close to 1.5 to me. Maybe I'll even write or similar. Anything like that's fine. If you think that's -2.6, great, more power to you. I don't really care. Just as long as you understand the concepts, that's all I'm looking for. Next one, express in interval notation the domain of f. All right, so the domain are all the possible x values. It's kind of the shadow onto the x-axis here. Note that we have x values everywhere from here all the way to here. Try make that a little straighter. Straight enough, huh? Looks to me like the domain goes from -3 all the way to +3. So kind of all of this stuff. And it looks like we got closed circles on either end. So I would say it's everything from -3 to +3. And I would use brackets because I do want to include those 2 points. I'm running out of colors, so maybe I'll cheat here. And maybe I won't cheat. I guess I really have used all my colors. Alright, so let's go back to blue. No, let's stick with red. Whatever. Express, let's go to blue. The range of f. Okay, so the range are all the possible outputs, all the possible heights this thing takes on. Well, it looks like the highest it ever gets up here is 10. And then there's heights for everything all the way down here until we get to right around here, whatever the hell that is. Right, this kind of height here, all the way to this kind of height here. So if you asked me to guess what that is, I don't know, like -2.1, -2.2, something like that. And all the way up to 10. And what I would say is we want closed brackets because we do take on that height and this height. So something, maybe this or similar works for all of these guys. Maybe we call that good? Oh, no, we don't. We have more questions. True or false? F of 0 equals 1. What this is asking is when the x value equals 0, is it true that the height is equal to 1? Well, let's see. X equals 0 right here. The height looks to me to be -2. I would say that's false. Maybe even parenthetically, f of 0 equals -2. Right, because it's 0, the height is -2. Estimate the intervals on which the intervals of x on which f of x is greater than 0. Nice that I said of x. I don't think they did that in the homework. Whenever we're talking about intervals, we specify the x value. So this wants to know when is the x value greater than 0. Well, to further mess with my picture here, it's greater than 0 over here, from this point all the way down to this point. And it looks like it's greater than 0 from this point all the way up to this point. So I would say it's greater than 0 from x is -3 all the way to -2. So from -3 up to -2. I want to include -3, but I don't want to include -2. All right, you want to include -3 because, yeah, it's greater than 0 at that point. But at -2, it's exactly 0, so don't want to include that point. Similarly, from 1 to 3, not including 1, but including 3. So I'd write it something like this, and then maybe parenthetically, I'll say union is okay too. If you don't put a comma in between, you put a U in between, that's totally fine. I don't care. Technically, comma's right, but whatever. No, well, maybe U would be technically right in this case. In the increasing case, I know you want a comma. Well, you don't care. Either way is fine. Union or a comma works. All right, final question says, sketch a graph of the piecewise linear function. Negative 2x plus 3 if x is greater than 1. So x is greater than 1 over here. And what I want to do is graph negative 2x plus 3 over here. One way you can do that is be like, well, negative 2x plus 3, this top equation, has a y-intercept of 3 and a slope of negative 2 over 1. How about this? b equals 3, m equals negative 2 over 1. So what I'm saying is the y-intercept is 1, 2, 3 is here. And then you go down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. You'll note that I'm not making any marks because I don't want to draw the line starting from there. I don't want to draw the line until I get greater than 1. Not including 1, just greater than 1. So I go 1, 2, 3, and I go down 2 over 1, and then right here is where I want to start, and I want to start with a open circle. Down 2 more over 1, down 2 more over 1. You don't need to make all these dots, but I will because it's hard for me to draw on the computer. I want to connect those dots with something that resembles a straight line. Well, good enough. Psh. This represents this part of the equation. The other part of the equation, I think it'll be a little bit easier because this is when x is less than or equal to 1, and you'll note that 0 falls into that interval. So when I try to use slope-intercept form and say that my value of b, the y-intercept, is negative 1, my value of m is 1/2, I can start drawing it immediately. I can say, all right, the negative 1 for my y-intercept is right here. And then you go up 1 over 2. I don't want this point to be on my graph because I don't want my graph to start until I get to 1. So I kind of go as though I were trying to connect those dots and then stop right here. Same idea over here. I could go over 2 and down 1, over 2 and down 1, over 2 and down 1. And connect those dots as best I can. It's actually a pretty straight line. Oh, not anymore. Good enough. Put the arrows on the end. I think that should work. I think that's the final answer. So in blue I have this part of the piecewise function. In green I have this part. If your answer looks like this, you're golden. It's the end of the quiz.